How to train your dog. Dog training fundamentals. A dog's memory. We all know that goldfish have short memories. However, you may be surprised to know that dogs also have short retention memories. If you could tell your dog something, it is likely that by the next day or a few hours later, they will have forgotten. On the other hand, poor dogs do have incredibly good associated memory. This basically means that if your dog can associate something with what you tell it, then it will likely remember what you told it for years to come. For example, if you told your dog, assuming you could speak doggy language, that the chocolate biscuits were in the cupboard, your dog would probably forget this within a few hours. However, if you showed your dog where the chocolate biscuits were, repeating the words chocolate biscuits every time you said chocolate biscuits, it would probably go straight to the cupboard. It may also search the cupboard every few hours for the rest of its life looking for the chocolate biscuits, but that's not the point. Therefore, when training your dog, you need to associate the training topic with something. For example, if you are teaching your dog to sit, if you associate the word sit by getting your dog to physically sit and then giving them a reward, repeat this a few times and soon your dog will associate your command sit with it physically sitting and then getting a reward. The difficult bit is disassociating the reward. Ask yourself why almost every dog will naturally sit when you have food in your hand. 3. Doggy language. Despite comments above, we cannot speak doggy language and dogs cannot speak our language. This is important when it comes to training. You have to choose words for commands that both you and your dog will remember. Be careful not to choose very common words, or else your dog will be easily confused when this word keeps appearing within the middle of a sentence. A common word often used in training dogs is come. For this example, it may be better to use a slang version or combine come here into a single short word. The important thing is that when you decide on a word for a command, to stick with it and be consistent, otherwise your dog will become confused. I know it can be difficult, especially if you come home to your new TV pulled off the cabinet, to always use pre-selected words when talking to your dog. Your dog does not speak human language and will only know what those few words you have trained it with are, and the tone you have used. So if you start using other words or different tones, your dog will not understand. For example, imagine someone speaking to you in a foreign language asking for directions to the city hall. You can't understand a word they are saying, yet they get more and more frustrated, talking in a louder and quicker language. Is it your fault you can't understand them? Why are they getting angrier when you have no idea what they are saying? What is the problem? What will I do? Similarly, if you haven't trained your dog to understand what sit is and you start shouting, sit down on back legs, down, etc., is it your dog's fault it is looking at you confused and increasingly scared? 4. Puppy behavior. Just like babies, puppies do not know how the world works or how they are supposed to behave within that world. They need to be taught and learn what is good, bad, right or wrong. A healthy and happy puppy will be a bundle of energy, desperate to explore as much as they can as quickly as they can. Dogs do not have good eyes that can see things or hands that can feel the intricacies of objects. Instead, they have noses that can smell things and mouths that can chew objects. While this can come through training and general maturing, the importance of this is that you must be patient and understand where your dog is coming from and why it does what it does. 5. Structure and enjoyment. While I have in a roundabout way touched on these two above, no dog training information would be complete without mentioning these two aspects on their own. However you decide to train your dog, as with routine, you must have a structure to your training. If you have never trained a dog before, how do you know when your dog can start learning to sit, stay, etc., and when it can run down to the local shop and pick the paper up for you? You need to know what it is you actually want to train your dog to ultimately be able to do and what steps you need to take to get to that point. Personnel dog trainers, dog training classes and dog training guides can all do this. Personally, I prefer to train my own dogs and believe that in the end you develop a much stronger bond with your dog. Also, your dog is more obedient to you rather than the trainer. However, at the very least, and particularly if you have never trained a dog before, I would recommend purchasing a dog training guide. The small amount of money for a dog training guide, compared to the time you would waste searching for free online tips that will be a mix match of training and will not provide the structure, is just not worth it. More than that, the time saved in training and the end result of a properly trained dog for the rest of its life, around 15 years, is worth many times more than the cost of even the most basic training guide. If you, and more importantly your dog, do not enjoy training, then you will never properly train your dog. Training will take longer and be much harder. When you start training your dog, remember they are most likely to be a puppy, and at that age all they want to do is run and explore their new world. Be flexible with the time you plan to spend training. Try and keep training short, but if your dog appears to be really enjoying it, then be prepared to train for longer. Likewise, if your dog will just not focus, then maybe leave it for a bit before going back to it. With a routine and structure to your training, your dog will soon learn that when it comes to training they need to focus for a short length of time and will be better able to do so. I hope the above has been helpful in your desire to train your dog. By knowing why and how your dog does what it does, you should be able to understand its behavior much better. By using this understanding, you can better bond with your dog and train your dog. A good training routine and structure, as well as plenty of patience, and eventually you will have a well-trained dog. Always make sure training is enjoyable for both you and especially your dog. Learn more dog training screet methods. Click here in description below to access now. Learn the second part of secret. Watch more videos. Click here in the description below. Thank you for watching.